Kudos is gonna watch a debate, but not just watch a debate. He has to stop it and wait, and go back and watch again to get it straight. Hour 8, he's only been 10 minutes in, he'll aggravate you. So don't watch unless you want to. So don't watch unless you want to. So don't watch unless you want to. So don't watch. This is gonna take a long, long, long time. We'll visit lots of rabbit holes along the way. We'll talk and we'll learn. We'll flock around and find out. We'll figure out who was right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong.
He's gonna watch a debate, but not just watch a debate. He has to stop it and wait, and go back and watch again and get it straight. Hour 8, he's only been 10 minutes in, it'll aggravate you. So don't watch unless you want to. Don't watch unless you want to. Don't watch unless you want to. We'll talk and we'll learn, we'll flock around and find out. This is gonna take a long, long time, but we'll visit lots of rabbit holes along the way. We'll talk and we'll learn, we'll flock around and find out. We'll figure out who was right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong. Don't watch unless you want to. Don't watch unless you want to. Don't watch unless you want to. Kudos is gonna watch a debate, but not just watch a debate. He has to stop it and wait, and go back and watch again and get it straight. It's hour 8, but he's not late. He's only been 10 minutes in, he'll aggravate anyone and everyone who's watching. So don't watch unless you want to. Don't watch unless you want to. We'll talk and we'll learn, we'll flock around and find out. This is gonna take a long, long time, but we'll visit lots of rabbit holes along the way. We'll talk away. We'll talk and we'll learn, we'll flock around and find out. This is gonna take a long, long time, but we'll visit lots of rabbit holes along the way. We'll talk and we'll learn, we'll flock around and find out. This is gonna take a long, long time, but we'll visit lots of rabbit holes along the way. We'll talk and we'll learn, we'll flock around and find out. We'll figure out who was right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong. Don't watch unless you want to. Don't watch unless you want to. Don't watch unless you want to.
Oh, those horns sound fucking awful. That's AI music for you. Fuck. Ha. Oh, man. Right? What a fucking day. What a fucking day. So I've got the chat window here. And I don't know about you, but I don't think there's going to be anyone here. And there's a very, very good reason for that, which is that this is the world's most slow and boring and tedious live stream there ever was. What's happening with this? There's like a little white mark on my flag here. Why? I wasn't there before. Is it some kind of glitch? Is this some kind of joke? What a strange little glitch. Okay, I've re-uploaded the photo and the glitch has disappeared. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, this stream is very slow and tedious and monotonous and dumb and boring. But not really, because technically, actually, if you think about it, we're talking about something and we're learning about something that's fucking really important, and that is widely not known to many people of my persuasion. And I'm talking about people who grew up in Western English-speaking countries. Now, I didn't grow up in countries. I grew up in a country. A state, as a matter of fact. And not just a state within the country. But the country itself is also a state. I grew up in a country which is a state, which is an incredibly wealthy state, which is an incredibly hegemonic state. Hegemony. Hegemonic. That means it's everywhere, all at once, all the time. That means you go to any part of the world and there's going to be a lot of people who learn the language specifically because they want to go to my country. Or they want to talk to people from my country when they come to visit. Or they want to do business with businesses from my country. So, movies, music, TV, cartoons, a lot of it that's consumed by a lot of the world, at least it's not necessarily the majority in every country, I wouldn't know, but I know it touches the whole globe. I also grew up in a location where we had complete isolation from any atrocities happening around the world. Now, of course, I was aware that there were tragedies and injustices and terrible things happening all over the world. But I was never made or taught that I should give any concern to it, other than to, like, you know, maybe you could go there and volunteer for a few weeks and pitch in and help them a little bit. That would be fine to do, but don't feel guilty if you never want to do that. Because, of course, it's very dangerous going to other countries. Oh, do you know in other countries you can't even do this? You can't even say that. They'll arrest you for criticizing the president. Oh, they have like a king there. They'll lock you up in jail for anything, for doing nothing. For free speech, right? That's the place I grew up. I grew up in the place where they say that. I want to look at a picture here. Can we see that? Let me see what you can see. What you would be asking me, dear watcher, is, can I see what you're seeing? And I say, yes, pardon me. I'm so sorry. Let me pull up what I'm looking at. I found this infographic from visualizingpalestine.org/101. There's a lot of cool infographics there if you want to go just kind of like check out some facts, get some perspective on things. Sometimes I like it. I like a good infographic. Does that make me a simp? Am I a bad guy because of that? Are you going to come after me? Are you going to push me around? Because I like a good infographic? Sorry, I don't read like fucking technical documents and fucking studies and shit. I like to see the sugary sweet fruits of many people's labor, especially assuming this was a accurate infographic. I'm not I don't really have any reason to doubt it. But that's visualizingpalestine.org. And when we talked, when we're doing this debate, remember, we were talking about 1947, or 48 is what Lex said. He said, let's talk about 48 or the events shortly after or before, right? And so British mandated Palestine. This is actually where we ended up talking about in hours 1 and 2. But this was what Norm's opening statement was. Now, Norm's statement started at the end of World War II. He described the need for this crisis, what do they call it? Refugee crisis after World War II. The survivors of the Holocaust were turned away by the US, turned away by the UK, turned away by Germany, turned away by Europe largely as a whole, right? So, which means you have like these very limited numbers of these refugees that are lucky enough to be able to flee to a safe place and just live their life out. Then you had a bunch of people who didn't. And as we can see here, between these years, so even pre-World War II and through World War II, so this isn't really breaking down the times, whatever. This is just one thing I'm looking at. But you can see, I was about to just read aloud what we're looking at. I might as well, because maybe you're not looking at the screen. But from 1922 to 1947, so that's a period of 25 years. 25 years. All right. In that time, 480,000 Jewish immigrants were granted Israeli citizenship. Okay, this is Israeli citizenship in 1948. 100,000 Palestinians expelled from homes. I see. Okay, so over these 25 years, there were 480,000 Jewish immigrants. And in the year 1948, at the end of this period, they were all granted citizenship. And during that time, a group about a quarter of the size, of Palestinians expelled from Palestine or forced to leave homes. We haven't gotten to a lot of detail about what that actually looks like, what that means. Because, I think there's just a general understanding that they all the people, except for Destiny, at that debate are like serious people. Now, I'm going to put a asterisk on Benny Morris because he's proven to grow more and more insane. And this debate's from like a year ago. Today, we're in late May of 2025, right? So Benny Morris is doing this, I think, in 2023, was it? I think it was the year, maybe 2024. Let's double check that. March 14th, 2024 is when it was uploaded. Okay, great. Yeah, so it was a little over a year ago. And I just recently saw a thing with Benny. He was arguing on fucking Piers Morgan. He and Finkelstein went head to head on Piers Morgan. And the weird thing was, This time, I mean, he's still like such a, just like Lex, he's just like this, like, oh, I'm just the mid-voice moderator between two voices, not trying to take a side. But obviously, clearly, like on one side, right? To where it's like so obvious he can't even hide it. And usually he's like that for the fucking Zionists. But this time, while continuing to be a shitty liberal Zionist, Piers Morgan I'm talking about, he ended up kind of pressing Benny Morris and sort of doing Norm's job for him a little bit. Like, sometimes if you got a clever enough idiot on your side, occasionally they can lob some, you know, they can bring some heat to a debate. They can bring some heat to an energy, to a thing, especially if you load them up with correct facts to say. Or incorrect facts, honestly. But we know this. We know the people are excited. They're excitable. They want the thing that they want the confidence and the delivery. There's a moth. Mothy moth. Oh, you know what I just thought of I could do? If I lose my train of thought, I can just pull up my own stream and like listen to see if like what I was talking about before I forgot. Ooh, okay. I don't need to do that now. That might get out of hand in terms of like a stream if it's constantly recursing back at itself. Like, do way too many like recursive jokes, you know? Oh, I don't know. It'd be kind of funny. Like, what if I just like sat here and just read questions, and then I pause, and then just read questions, and then pause, and then like I pull up my phone and I play my own stream, and then I play me asking the questions again, but then I'm answering the questions. Right? That'd be kind of funny. If I had anything funny to say or questions to answer or answers to attach questions to. Ooh. It's like an approach to writing. You could just say a bunch of shit and then just be like, if this were an answer, what was the question? And then like just write your own question for it. Huh. Anyway, we got to get back on track. What are we doing here? Oh yeah, so we've had this infographic up for a while. I just want everyone to look at it. There's no need to comment. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to read it to you. There's another picture I wanted to look at from the same website, another infographic. And that is a map. And this I kind of do want to look at. I do love a good map. And this is actually just like a very charmingly, beautifully drawn kind of like cartoon little map. Historic Gaza. For thousands of years, Gaza's location on land and sea trade routes shaped it into a prosperous and cosmopolitan urban center. By the early 20th century, Gaza was part of the Ottoman district of Jerusalem, connected by rail to cities across the eastern Mediterranean and a major exporter of grain to Europe. Pour one out for whoever drew this map in this infographic. This first one. Now the scale in the first one, okay, obviously the first picture here, we're way zoomed in, right? Because we're seeing Gaza, the city. In this picture, it's just the white dot, kind of. Probably a little closer. Or yeah, no, it's like maybe about like that. I don't know. Because I know the city touches the ocean. I don't know where that river is in this picture. But these I think are the same scale. Are these three the same scale? Like zoomed in? I think so. So like these three on the right just show because like I'm not sure, it doesn't look like the same map shape as Gaza before. But let's read through the text on this. And this you might not be able to see because it's very small and kind of hard to read. All of these things were brought up in hours 1 and 2. The British mandate Palestine. After World War I, Britain created the Gaza District, which extended south to Bir Sabah and eventually included more than half of historic Palestine. I see. Okay, that explains why the shape is not familiar. This is called the Gaza District. So it includes more than Gaza City. And I guess it's not clear here whether there were clear borders of Gaza or what was Gaza, just the city or the region. We have that same thing a lot, like where the name of the local place is the same name as the greater surrounding place. New York, right? Gaza, Mexico, right? Mexico State in Mexico, the country, and then in Mexico City. So all right. So this is Gaza until 1947. Dare I look next? What comes next? You guys know what comes next. This is what we also talked about. Now, we didn't get into the current day occupation except for just a couple small little remarks here and there from Benny, I think. He mostly talked about it. Norm and Moeen kept it professional, kept it good. All right, let's read it. It's the Nakba and the occupation. And then look at, so this is the Gaza Strip with that. This is that familiar shape of what's considered the Gaza Strip and then Gaza City, right? There's this huge fucking wall around it. Up until a couple of years ago. Israel ordered Palestinians out of 70% of the Gaza Strip. Vowing to take over all of Gaza after more than 18 months of genocide. 1.9 million Palestinians were displaced, many of them concentrated into tiny camps on the coast. concentrating them into camps. Cool. Those of us who grew up got liberal educations in certain hegemonic countries, we learned a little bit every year about the Holocaust and about the horrors of fascism and concentration camps and secret police and Gestapo and all that shit. Now, we didn't really learn why or how exactly it had happened. We just knew that it was like the worst thing ever. And it's the worst thing you can compare someone to. And if someone is significantly less evil than Hitler, and you make that comparison to them, that's now bad for you to do. That's like you being bad for saying it. Even though Hitler was also bad because he was against free speech, it's still bad. You can have free speech except for that. That's the one thing you can't free speak about. It's the one thing we told you not to speak about. This is another infographic just about the amount of settlement buildings constructed versus settlement buildings destroyed, including the West Bank and Gaza. This is, oh my God, this is so out of date. I wonder if we can, because this goes to 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Now, I don't know if the Israeli building construction line is necessarily, or trend is necessarily going to change one way or the other. Who knows? It could or may or may not. But I definitely think this black line number would keep going down so much. So this is old info, which, you know, I still find interesting to know, because like when I read something like this, I go back and I think, what was I concerned about that year? Oh, that was pre-COVID. I couldn't even name a single coronavirus at that point. So I was, I just was in a very different headspace in terms of all my like interest and knowledge in a lot of things back then. Who knows what I was into? I was probably watching Internet Historian and shit like that. I think I was probably like a fucking cucked out liberal just moron. I don't know. Not moron. What am I thinking? I think I might have thought that I was super left wing. But I think in practice there was still so much for me to not only learn but deconstruct about life and everything. But goddamn, that also seems like such a late date in my total life. 2019. Like when I was a little kid, when we talked about the future, and you said any year with the 2000, it was like, oh man, that's so far in the future. So we would say shit like, okay, imagine it's like 2010, and like we all got flying laser hats, and like we're all like I don't know, we're able to make food replicators. Just really thought like it was this distant thing. And you know, that's because you're stupid as a kid. Because when you're a little, if you're 8 years old, and 4 years is like you're in half of your fucking life. And even if you're younger, if you're 13/18, 4 years, that's a whole high school. And like you imagine yourself from freshman year to senior year, and everything in between. And you're like, that's 4 years, dude. That's like so many years. And when people talk about like, oh, it's so many years in the future, it's gonna be like, oh, like, God, it's gotta be like 20 years after that. Like, no, man, 20 years is not that much. 20 years, that's how long ago I graduated high school. More than that. Graduated high school in 2003. So just being an adult for 20 years. Not just being 20 years old. Like getting to 20 years old and then doing 20 years again, right? That's kind of what 40 is like. Imagine you had to go to high school 10 times. 10 times high school. Shit. You just graduated senior year, and then everything turns green and swirly, and you fade and dissolve, and you're sitting at your desk, and it's freshman year, first day of school. And we're going to do that on your graduation day. We'll do it all over again. 10 times. That's what it's like to be 40. All right. Let's listen to the debate. Listen to the debate. Listen to the debate. Listen to the debate. Let's listen to the debate. So I thought that we should start at 1:54 and get to the true end of hour 2. It was a lie last time. I said that the hour was exactly 60 minutes, but guess what? No, it's not. It's more than 60 minutes. So what we got to do is actually, I'm missing some of the transcript. I got to go in here, copy paste this transcript and put it in my document, and then we're going to color code it as we go through it again, okay? I don't have much more to color code. Ooh, there's chatsies. Sorry, I don't see the chatsies because every time I click something, I move them. Penny Cent. Hello, Penny Cent. And Free Palestine. Fuck yeah. How long ago was that? Oh, that was like 14 minutes ago. Sorry. Sorry about that. Hope you don't mind. I didn't see the chat. I didn't see the chat. Oh no. I didn't see the chat. No. I need to get a better system. I need to make them flash into my eyes better. Anyway, if you do chat, then expect a leisurely conversation over the course of many minutes. It's sort of like having a chat with someone on another planet. My chat. Oh. I didn't see your chat. I'm talking actually with the chatter because I happen to know this chatter right here through Discord. Through the Discord, I could see, and it's possible that it's frozen or something. Woo! That seems to be working. Seems to be working. Thanks, Penny. About to start going through. Okay, they're saying goodnight. Thanks, you too. Great new YTP, by the way. Penny sent, like me, enjoys the hobby of making YouTube poop edits, and has just made a very, very nice one, which we gotta write a comment on, I think. Let's see what you're saying to me. Yep, it came up on my homepage right there. How to Train You Drag.
This is Pepsi. It's 12 days hopeless of north and a few degrees.
So hold on, what was that thing that popped up?
This is Pepsi.
That guy looks really familiar, but I can't tell what he is. Is he a cereal mascot? It said Burpsy. Bubsy. Who the fuck is Bubsy? Bubsy. I thought it was like Apple Jacks or something. No, that's a frog. Smack the frog. Dude, what's up with these fucking AI overviews? Okay, it's a video game, of course. Of course it's a video game. Bubsy. Okay, it also is a brand of custom dog harnesses. Oh, and his name, and it looks like it's spelled with an S. Bubsy. Okay, that's Bubsy. What was he? Is he more of a PlayStation kind of thing than a... No, it was on Super NES. Okay. Legit.
It's 12 days hopeless of north and a few degrees south of north of Freer. It's located solidly on the meridian of north. My village. In a word, village. And it's been here for 7 villages, but every single village is new. We have fishing, hunting, and a charming view of this village. We have...
Good rhythm with the village thing. I love those ones where you can just There's a certain rhythm that just works to him, and it's impossible to explain why it's funny. It's funny for the same reason that you're thinking like music has fills in the right places, you know?
Little. Yes.
Morning! Oh, nice of you to join the party.
I'm way too muscular for their gawk. The medium head with hands and interchangeable meat is little gawk. I've been his apprentice ever since I was all this. Oh, and that's Fish Lout, Snot Legs, the twins, Nut Nut, and Tough Rough, and... Yes.
Nut Tough Rough. I like this.
Oh, and that's Fish Lout, Snot Legs, the twins, Nut Nut, and Tough Rough.
Tough Rough? Why is Tough Rough like the funniest name? Hey, Tough Rough.
And... Yes. Oh, their Josh was so much cooler.
You made plenty of marks, all in the wrong places.
Please, 2 minutes. I'll kill my...
Get down!
There's the mom. Only the bestest Vikings go after those. They have this nasty habit of setting themselves on fire.
This movie, I've never seen this movie before, but it looks really good. Looks like it's a great, beautiful animated movie. I should watch it.
Oh, the gods hate me. Some people lose their knife or their mug. No, not me. I managed to lose an entire village. Oh, the gods hate me.
Ooh, love on the battlefield.
She could do better.
Let me... Why don't you...
I like that. That was really good. The munchy eyes and the cutting back and the thing just looking. I don't know what that thing that must be the dragon. I bet in How to Train Your Dragon, that big flying bird thing, I bet it's the dragon. Or it could be the train. Maybe the dragon turns into a train. Yeah, nice. Really good. It's really good. What? Chat replay? I want to just read a comment. Oh, there's the comments. Oh, hell yeah. Love the rhythm. It's very good. Joe Rogan and Jimmy Carr have completely lost touch with reality. Yeah, I bet. All right. So anyway, that was the chatter. So there you go. Sometimes a chatter might take up a lot of time, because you can see how kind of you can see how easily distracted I am, and for that reason, many of my fans, my friends, my millions of adoring fans do not watch. Fans of this stream should not ever watch this stream. No, this stream is only for if you want to watch it. I'm not an entertainer. Well, I am an educator, but I'm not your educator. You know how like lawyers will be like, I am just talking about legal advice, but I'm not, or legal stuff, but I'm not giving you legal advice. I am a lawyer, but I am not your lawyer. Okay? I'm an educator, but I'm not your educator. I can't tell you what to do. I can't even ask you to answer my questions. I can do that with a student. I can insist that they interact and talk with me and tell me something. I don't teach by just lecturing. The way I teach is a student comes to me seeking help, learning something, and I tell them if I know that thing or not. And if not, I help them through finding where to help them learn about it. I don't teach by lecturing. I'm not a lecture teacher. I'm more like a coach in the interactive sense. When I'm doing this podcast, I'm literally just a dude talking. Like you may as well go to the park and just sit next to some stranger and listen to them like watch something on their phone and then talk shit about it. Right? That's what this is. It's not a show. It's not a podcast. It's not a stream. It is content, and you can treat it like a podcast, but only if you're comfortable saying it's a podcast, even though I'm watching it on YouTube. To me, as far as I'm concerned, podcast has to be played on an iPod, or at least it has to be an MP3 file, and it has to be played on a portable MP3 player. Whatever. Call me a fucking millennial. Say like, oh, I've heard that fucking joke. Again, like I said, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not an entertainer. I'm just a guy sitting here. I'm gonna make a joke, and maybe it's not gonna be a funny joke. So, who cares? Do you if you overhear someone telling a joke and it's not funny, do you run up to them and go like, "Fuck you, that was a bad joke"? Maybe you do. Is that fair? You're like walking past a table at a restaurant. Oh, sorry, couldn't help it over here. You just told a joke to your date here. It was shit. Just letting you know. And then, like, you just hear the sound of silverware cling, cling, and then you see the restaurant door open. Get chucked out the side of it. Yeah, out the door. And then a few seconds later, your hat. Oh, door opens again, and the hat flies out. Slams shut. All right. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, I was talking about how getting sidetracked, getting off rabbit holes is what I do. And so while I am very slow, we will get off and maybe we'll talk about something interesting. So that is for lucky little lurkers to find out. If lurkers are lucky, there'll be plenty of side tracks and rabbit holes to keep ourselves sane, because we were talking about a dark, fucked up subject that gives me lots of feelings and makes me feel frustrated and bad and guilty and infuriated and sad all at once. And then it's like, full fuck, man. My brain's going to explode if I don't just get off this topic, at least for a second. Just hot potato this a little bit. And, divide the work up, I guess. Spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Oh, yeah, the next thing on my to-do list is to copy these ding-dang subtitles. 159.57, I'm going to go and grab it. 159.57. You've read them. Believe me, I'm a lot more literate than you, Mr. Borelli. Okay. And then next is 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Let's grab this. And we're going to go all the way. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, here. We'll go to the end of October 7. And let's put that into our document here. Let's move to the modern day, and we'll return to history. I've only heard this parts from 2 hours to 2 hours and 7 minutes and 45 seconds. Like 1 or 2 times, and I don't remember exactly, but because there was a lot of over talking. Just look at this. I'm talking facts. I think we're speaking past each other. We're not. I'm talking facts. Like, are you just disagreeing with everything I say automatically? Like a child? Goodbye. Bad bye. Right? What was happening in that Simpsons argument when someone said goodbye to Homer and he replies with bad bye? Bad bye. It was Lisa. What? Get yarn? Why is this the place to watch a Simpsons clip? Oh my goodness. Do you have it? I don't know what this site is. It's like the only one seems to have these Simpsons clip. I mean, YouTube search is fucking useless. YouTube search. YouTube. YouTube search doesn't ever find anything that you want. Okay, here some of these at least wrote it out. This conversation is over. This conversation is under. Goodbye. Bad bye. And it's from season 12, episode 12, Tennis the Menace.
What's wrong, Trey? Why are you?
Bum, 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 bum. So anyway, Benny Morris is, or I don't know if that's Benny Morris saying that, but it just reminds me of that energy of Homer. This conversation is over. This conversation's under. Or when they say agree to disagree, I don't agree with that. Me neither. Agree to disagree? I don't agree with that. I don't either. We disagree to agree to disagree. I disagree to agree to disagree. We disagree with the thing. That could be a kind of a slogan for this stream. I don't agree to disagree. I don't agree to disagree. No way. I'll fucking agree with you. If that's what it takes. I guess if you agree to disagree, maybe that's better instead of disagree to agree to disagree. I can't tell where it ends up making sense. Because if we disagree with someone and they don't change their mind, I don't want to change my mind either, though. So that's agreeing to disagree, right? But so like if I unless I'm like, whatever, like if you don't agree with me, I'll just give up and agree with you. But then like I would never win. No one would ever agree with me again. I'd lose all the debates. And I'd lose all the dates. And I'd be shunned and sent away, run out of town on a rail. They'll hunt me down. They'll slap the chicken out my mouth. They'll slap the corn cob out of my hand. And they'll spank me. No good. No good. All right, so what I'm just fucking putting these in like formatting them, and I can tell when one person when it changes speaker, we can see this little hyphen here. But it won't indicate, usually doesn't, every once in a while it does. Right here, that's Benny. Oops. We know that's Benny. For some reason, the AI is like, clocked him. identified Blue Benny, but other times not. But like here, I imagine because of the over talking. Okay, I just want to keep everything as like, because we're going to go through and color code it, but it's easier to now. I just want to separate everything so I can see what needs to be different colors and get it all sorted out. Let's get sorted. Sorting it out and up and looking down around. I read Benny Morris. Steven says, I'm going to believe the guy that wrote the stuff. You read what Wikipedia said. That's great. I read Benny Morris. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. A very big flying insect has been probably mortally wounded by one of my kitty cats and is now fluttering around. Woo! All right. So once we start the listen through, I'm going to be color coding it, and we'll stop periodically to comment on our, I guess, semi-final thoughts. Maybe before, maybe not the semi-final. There'll probably be two more. We'll call it semi-penultimate thoughts. Since it's the semi-final. Okay. And then we're going to color code it. We're going to complete this thing, which actually we're going to have to tack on actually 8. Eight of these lines and numbers we're going to add because the true hour 2 is longer than 60 minutes. That's what I'm telling you guys. That's what I'm telling you. You got to believe me. It's not just 60 minutes. This is an hour that spans longer than 60 minutes. It's over 67 minutes, nearly 68. Why? Always with the questions, with the why. Why is hour 2 68 minutes long? Let me ask you this. Why was hour 1 54 minutes long? These are the mysteries. These are the mysteries of life that only I know the answer to. And if you think about it, there's lots of things that you there listening this stream, you could you could be the only person in the world to know about a certain thing, and you're the world's foremost expert on that. But the thing has to be something that you invent in your head. And you can't tell anybody. Because they might know more, they might suddenly learn more about it. So, anyway, I'm an expert on these little dumb reasons I do stuff. Like, call it hour 1, but it's less than an hour. Call it hour 2, and it's more than an hour. Okay, so we're just following along with the natural cutoff points in the thing. 1948 was roughly an hour, and partition was roughly an hour. October 7th, that's going to be hour 3. Hour 3 starts 8 minutes in, starts 8 minutes late. And it finishes about 2 minutes early. That's actually going to be nice. Well, give us a little break, you know? Give us a nice short hour. Hour 4. Hold on a second. Gaza, they only talk about it for a very short amount of time. Hour 4 kind of cuts through 2 topics. Gaza, peace. I don't know. Maybe we'll end up just doing it by the sections. Because how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's a little bit at the end. What's the end? Hope for the future? All right. Fine. Hope for the future. You love to see it. There's something interesting I found today. And I thought maybe, you know, we made a lot of judgments about how this...
what was the story with Destiny?
About how this whole debate... Destiny seems so oddly out of place, intellectually and performance-wise. Like, if you just listen to what the clown says right out the gate, his opening statements, and then every subsequent thing after that was just trash. It's ignorant. It's smug yet ignorant. It's got a false sense of, like, excuse me, like, how would you explain this and this and this? Like, as if he's making these, like, very, very obvious debunks and dunks, right? Because his understanding of, like, life in the world and politics. Let me give you an example. Like, his whole comparison of saying, like, how on earth would the early Zionist philosophers and strategists and thinkers and leaders, why would they ever intend to do expel Palestinians off their land? Yet, at the same time, they desperately wanted recognition from the white Western powers. How do you explain that? Wouldn't them trying to drive away 900,000 people from their land, wouldn't that ruin their reputation amongst Western countries? And it's like, how fucking stupid of an argument is that? And it's like, no. First of all those countries did that several times over in many different places all over the world. And then he's like, whenever people talk about 48 or the establishment of an Arab state, I never hear about the fact that a civil war started in 47 that was largely instigated because of the Arab rejectionism of the 47 partition plan. these are really interesting little things, right? His little phrase is like, but I feel like when you have this type of reading, it feels like the goal is to moralize everything. Like he's just very passively trying to imply that their opponents are just trying to moralize everything first, then pick and choose facts that support their initial moral statements afterwards. Like this, it's not complicated. Like it's not as like the way he's talking as if he's so fucking smart. And he's like big boy, like meta argument logic boy who's like, I can get into any field, any topic, and just because of my like general rules of evidence, my general rules of rhetoric, I'm in here to just sort of attack that. I'm here to like attack how you're arguing, or how I feel your thinking processes, your reasoning, your motivations. Like, sure, you're standing for, the plight of the Palestinian people, but are you doing that just because you think it's fashionable? Are you doing that just because what? Just because you hate the other side? Like, what is... He's trying to put these ideas, and people are just going to make that assumption. People are just going to make that leap that that's what he's saying, right? I think it's interesting where people start the history. So basically what you have, you're going to have a Destiny fan who's not going to have paid attention too much to the first three people. They might be like listening out for like little things they can try to gotcha with. But other than that, they're not really going to take in a lot of what he said. But they are going to take in this. What we're talking about 1948? And Pestiny, and like these people are going to know, okay, 48 was when the Nakba happened. It was the thing that was bad. It was against the Palestinians, right? So your basic simp understanding, let's say me, hour one of this very stream, right? Like a few weeks ago when I started doing this, I was basic simp guy. I just didn't know much about the historical stuff going on. I had heard little things, but I was basically like, if you'd asked me before I started doing this stream and watching this debate, I'd have said, yeah, it all started at the Nakba, 1948. Right? So, for that kind of basic simp, Pestyny's saying, I think it's interesting where people start the history. I noticed they always start at the Nakba. And you're like, huh? But I thought that was the start of it. That's what I remember as being the start of when everything happened. And he's like, I notice a lot of people like to start at 37 or 48 because it's the first time they can clearly point to a catastrophe that occurs on the Arab side that they want to ascribe 100% of the blame to. Just a way of like... He's like, welcome to the debate. Okay, he's not talking about the actual issue. He's criticizing the whole conversation as having to start here because what's going to happen is that people can ascribe percentages of blame to various things. And here we have something that we can ascribe 100% of the blame to Israel. And it's the first time you can do that. And by first time, I think he means earliest time, where we could say that's the first time that we can ascribe 100% of the blame to Israel, the newly emergent Israel state. Fair enough. We could say we could ascribe 100% blame to the Zionist movement, right? But for this first opening part, he's just talking about the conversation rather than talking about the facts. Here's the first fact he says. A civil war was started in 47 that was largely instigated because of the Arab rejectionism of the 47 partition plan. That's the first time. So he talk about, like, talking about this conversation in general, not pointing out anything that anyone ever said, but just talking about this. Some people just, like, don't even know how to think about this shit. Some people don't even know how to fucking talk about this shit. And then he's like, they never be, these ignorant motherfuckers out here, they're talking about 1948 and the establishment of the Arab state. And guess what they don't even want to say shit about? They never want to say this. Ain't nobody want to say that there was a civil war in 1947 that was largely instigated because of the Arab rejectionism of the 1947 partition plan. By the way, why do you add ism to that word? He's trying to tie this idea of refusing a partition plan is an ideology. It's this ideology. It's called rejectionism. We believe in always rejecting deals that are made for us. And we always, on principle, even if it's a really, really good deal, or it's like a great deal that'll help everybody, we refuse. And like, ooh, you could trick them by like, what if we made a deal to not make deals? And you're like, ooh, I reject that. Okay, that means we're making deals. Anyway, rejectionism. Not just rejection, right? The rejection of the 47 partition plan. Now, and the 47 partition plan, he describes as, they both describe as Jews and Arabs living side by side in peace. And that's fucking nonsense. That is fucking fiction. Living side by side in peace with a giant fucking border that separates Palestine from other parts of Palestine, forcing them to cross through miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of Israeli territory, which they're not allowed to do, basically. That is not a deal of living side by side. That is an act of fucking murder to your nation. And fuck if they're actually officially a state or not. They are a people that shouldn't have a border cutting through all over their fucking country and partitioning most of it off and saying, you can't ever fucking come here. Fuck you. In fact, you can't even like move or switch around. You got to get permission to leave. And that's fucking so ridiculous. To think that was like a good faith, like peace. He's talking as if it's a peace deal, a truce. It's not. It's a plan to instate a fucking ethno-state by gutting another country. So anyway, by the way, I never hear that this civil war started. And it started because the Arabs rejected the partition plan. Okay, here we go. Then he says, I never hear about the fact that the majority of land that was acquired happened by purchases from Jewish organizations of Palestinian Arabs and Ottoman Empire before the mandatory period in 1920. Right? That is later contradicted by his own guy, Blue Benny. Sometimes they bought tracts of land on which there weren't Arab villages, but sometimes they bought land on which there were Arabs, and according to Ottoman law and the British, at least in the initial years of the British Mandate, the law said that the people who bought the land could do what they liked with the people who didn't own the land, who were basically squatting on the land, which is Arab tenant farmers. We're talking about a very small number, actually, of Arabs who were displaced as a result of land purchases on the Ottoman period. A very small number. What'd you say, buddy? Literally your second fact of the whole speech. First one, nobody ever talks about the partition plan. Second one is the majority of land was acquired happened by purchases. No, buddy. A very, very small number of people, of Arabs were displaced due to land purchases. Plus, if that was true, you dipshit, that's still fucking ethnic cleansing. Purchases don't mean that, like Benny just explained, those people, the land was bought out from under them because they were saying that the farmers, the tenant farmers there, had no rights to it. The people who bought the land could do what they liked with the people who didn't own the land, who were basically squatting on the land. What? Like what? What? That's supposed to make the Jews and the Israelis like more sympathetic, Destiny? Because the way you're saying it, you just say purchases, right? And I don't know, maybe Benny told you this point, but I doubt it. I think this sounds like something you fucking came up with. Maybe. Because he might have just read about land sales happening and just thought like, oh, that's not fucking, that's just like, you know, people shaking hands and like they hand him a big bag of money and he fucks off to Jordan. Like, that's not what happened. It would be like two white people in a building somewhere exchanging pieces of paper and then paying like a little paying like a little mercenary group or a couple guys. Just go fucking fuck those guys up. Or make them be slaves. I don't know. You said you could do anything to them. Because they don't technically own the land. They don't have the deed. No, it's just they've been living there and working the land. They don't fucking own it. Fuck you. I got my paper. Look who signed it. Look, there's a little squiggle on it. That goes look at that. That's the signature. That's the signature of the guy who's the greatest. What are you talking about? All right. Knowing this about Destiny, he's a complete fuck up. I was always interested, how and why did this happen? And guess what I found today? Let's watch it together now.
And Lex Fried. What was the story with Destiny and Lex Friedman?
Lex Friedman originally wanted me on with Destiny. I said, that's not going to happen. He then contacted me about 3 weeks later. And he said, how about coming on with Benny Morris? I said, fine. Benny Morris is serious. I think his politics are horrible, but he's serious. And then he said it would be Morris and Destiny. And at that point, I faced a dilemma, which is if I said no, it would appear as if I were afraid to be on with Morris, which I'm not afraid to be. But if I said yes, then I'm burdened with this other person. I think I could just ignore him. I said, well, if he's coming on with that other person, then I should have somebody also, and that would be Muin Rabbani. So it was a matter of, obviously, curiosity, why Friedman was so determined that I would be on with Destiny.
Do you have any
Nope.
idea?
Nope. But when I was...
It's called clicks, Norman. But I also think that Lex is the kind of guy who would totally be taken in by Destiny. He probably believes Destiny's bullshit.
told that that person called Destiny was paid and coached. Now, I've made the allegation already. I've said what I just told you. And then that thing called Destiny went on and said, he's...
That thing called Destiny. That thing called Destiny.
Then that thing called Destiny went on and said, he's looking for a libel lawyer, and with nothing.
What? Wait, hold on. For what?
Person called Destiny was paid and coached. Now, I've made the allegation already. I've said what I just told you. And then that thing called Destiny went on and said, he's looking for a libel lawyer, and with nothing ever, obviously, I think the very last thing he wanted to do was litigate this, because discovery would be a very uncomfortable thing for him. I know that he was paid. I know, but I never said the Mossad. I said, quote, an Israel advocacy group, because that's what I was told. And he was paid, quote, a handsome sum. I was also told, quote, that they rehearsed with him for several weeks to prepare him for the occasion.
What do you think? Is that money well spent? How much money would you give? Here's the thing. Other thing. How much time would you spend with Destiny coaching him on Hasbara? I mean, fuck. He's prepped. At the very least, I'd say he's prepped. That's self-evident. Now, what he prepped for and how he prepped was clearly very, very shallow. He never read any of Norm's books. He, quote, watched a lot of his debates. He's reading Wikipedia. He's on Wikipedia level of this, where Norm Finkelstein and Benny Morris they're at the level of wrote the books that Wikipedia cites. Do you see the difference? There's people like me. We read Wikipedia. There's a level up. There's the people who edit Wikipedia. And then there's the people who write the books that make the references that the people who edit Wikipedia can vouch for to say that this is good enough for us little piggies who read Wikipedia. Right? Now, these are not distinct classes of people on everything. There might be, this is based on a specific topic, what I'm saying. On a particular topic, there are the readers, there are the editors, there are the ones who make the fucking knowledge possible for the editors to use it as references. Right? These are not permanent classes of people, but in this case, on Israel Palestine, Destiny is a Wikipedia reader, and all the other guys, I would say Rabbani, I don't know what his scholarly work looks like. I would assume he's doing something similar to these other guys. Let me look up this dude real quick. Senior fellow. I always hear this as like a thing people are. I'm a senior fellow. Hiya, fellow. Is he an author? He's an analyst. Has he written any professional work? Okay. He has written for a variety of publications. Third World Quarterly, Journal of Palestine Studies, The Nation, Foreign Policy, his opinion and an analysis. Okay, so I think Rabbani might be at the level of Wikipedia editor. Prove me wrong. Unlike his contemporary, he's been critical of the feasibility of a one-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict, at least in the short term. He's been critical of the feasibility. Well, I mean, it's certainly not feasible during a fucking full-out U.S.-backed non-stop siege and starvation. I mean, Jesus. His opinion and analysis has been cited by international news media. And news media are Wikipedia readers in general. Or they are Wikipedia sources, because the Wikipedia article is about what the media was fucking doing, being full of shit. So he's from the Netherlands, or he's born in the Netherlands, but it says he is Palestinian. He worked for the United Nations Office of the Special Envoy for Syria until 2014. He does have a book, Aborted State, the UN Initiative, and New Palestinian Junctures. UN Initiatives and New Palestinian Junctures. This book examines the Palestinian UN initiatives from the key perspectives of strategy and leadership, international law and statehood, U.S. foreign policy, and representation. It also includes more recent material from the 2012 sequel to the 2011 initiative and relevant appendices. Like critical junctures before it, the statehood bid marks yet another turning point in the fate of the Palestinian people and their struggle for self-determination. This collection, based in large measure on articles published in Jadaliyah, attempt to trace the pulse of political developments leading up to it, as well as to highlight the most relevant social, political, and economic elements that will comprise of the coming phase. This kind of stuff. This kind of writing. These are reviews. Here's what Noam Chomsky had to say. As the ignominious Oslo process grinds on its predicated course after 20 shameful years, while Israel, always with U.S. support, carries forward its settlement programs and atrocities in brazen violation of international law, abandoning any pretense of decent respect for the opinions of mankind. Palestinians face new dilemmas, prospects, and opportunities. The penetrating studies collected here provide an indispensable basis for thinking through what should be done and acting upon the conclusions. All right, let's go back. Let's get back on track. So, we'll see if Destiny was coached and paid handsomely. If whoever paid that money regrets that stupid decision. Very curious. Very curious. All right, let's go to... We'll go about 156. 156. 156 and we maintain. No, let's go to 150. Yeah, we'll go 156.30. 156.30. Where's it? Where's it? Where's it? 156.30. Come on now. Come on now. I'm using the mouse scrolling in order to fast forward and rewind. And it works really well, but it depends where I put the cursor on the screen and scroll up or down. I can change like how much time I skip with each scroll. I can go one frame at a time, or I can go like 5% through the whole video at a time. Anyway, here we go.
Before they were being shot up, but maintained that anti-Zionist posture until 1948.
Okay.
And if I may, just also one point. You mentioned Haj Amin al-Husseini during World, entirely legitimate. But what I would also point out is that you had a Zionist organization, the Lehi.
300 people.
300 people, one of whom happened to become an Israeli prime minister, an Israeli foreign minister, a speaker of Israeli parliament.
Maybe you should give his name.
Yitzhak Shamir, proposing an alliance with Nazi Germany in 1941.
Shamir proposed.
Well, no, the Lehi proposed.
Some people in the Lehi proposed.
Of which Shamir was a prominent
this is
leader.
a red herring also.
No. Okay, well, if he's a red herring,
The Lehi was
is a red whale. I'm sorry.
The Lehi was an unimportant organization in the Yishuv. 300 people versus 30,000 belonged to the Haganah. So it was not a very important organization. It's true, before the Holocaust actually began, they wanted allies against the British where they could find them.
We're talking 1941 here, not 1931.
1940.
41 from what I recall.
1940. They approached. It was an unimportant organization in the. The Lehi was an.
Shamir. Well, no, the Lehi proposed.
Some people in the Lehi proposed.
Of which Shamir was a prominent
this is
leader.
A red herring also.
No. Okay, well, if he's a red herring,
the Lehi was
is a red whale. I'm sorry.
The Lehi was an unimportant organization in the Yishuv. 300 people versus 30,000 belonged to the Haganah. So it was not a very important organization. It's true, before the Holocaust actually began, they wanted allies against the British where they could
We're
find
talking
them. And they
1941 here, not
1940. We're talking
1931.
1940.
41 from what I recall.
1940. They approached the
The
German
Brit-
emissary in
Ankara,
Istanbul or something.
yes.
Istanbul.
And
they-
if I may, proposed an alliance with Nazi Germany on what the Leahy described as
the
on the
Leahy was
basis of
reviled by the
shared
mainstream of Zionism.
ideas
they-
and what the Leahy described as
the
on the, an alliance with Nazi Germany on what the Leahy
40.
1931
1940.
41 from what I recall.
1940. They before the Holocaust actually began, they wanted allies against the British where they could
We're
find
talking
them.
1941 here, not
1940. We're talking
1931.
1940.
41 from what I recall.
1940. They approached the
The
German
Brit-
emissary in
Ankara,
Istanbul or something.
yes.
Istanbul.
And if I may, proposed an alliance with Nazi Germany on what the Leahy described as
the
on the
Leahy was
basis of
reviled by the
shared
mainstream of Zionism.
shared
no,
ideological
they didn't
principles.
share ideological.
Well, they said they did.
No, they didn't. They reviled.
Why are you doing these things? Of
The
course
Leahy
they
was
said it.
reviled.
Said they did.
No, they didn't. Of Zionism.
Shared
no,
ideological
they didn't
principles.
share ideological.
Well, they said they did.
No,
They
they
said.
didn't. They reviled.
Why are you doing
Ideological Leahy,
the
the
German
Brit-
emissary in
Ankara,
Istanbul or something.
yes.
Istanbul.
And
they approached the German
Brit-
emissary in
Ankara,
Istanbul or something.
yes.
Istanbul.
And if I may, proposed an alliance with Nazi Germany on what the Leahy described as
the
on the
Leahy was
basis of
reviled by the
shared
mainstream of Zionism.
shared
no,
ideological
they didn't
principles.
share
As proposed an alliance with Nazi Germany on what the Leahy described as
the
on the
Leahy was
basis of
reviled by the
shared
mainstream of Zionism.
ideology.
So he says this: the Leahy was reviled by the majority. He's repeating this a lot, so maybe it's not too important to have, but he does repeat that here. And it was kind of over talking.
Shared
they
ideological
didn't
principles.
share ideological.
Well, they said they did.
No,
They
they didn't.
said.
They reviled.
Why are you
Ideological
they didn't
principles.
share ideological.
Well, they said they did.
No,
They
they didn't.
said.
They reviled.
Why are you doing these things? Of
the
course
Leahy
they
was
said it.
reviled
You
by the
know the
majority.
state said.
Shared
of Zionism.
shared
they
ideological
didn't
principles.
share ideological.
Well, they said they did.
No,
They
they didn't.
said.
They reviled.
Why are you doing these?
They didn't
Principles.
share ideological.
Well, they said they did.
No,
They
they didn't.
said.
They reviled.
Why are you doing these things? Of
the
course
Leahy
they
was
said it.
reviled
You
by the
know the
majority.
state, but
The
you
Leahy
know
was
that
reviled.
you know what the statement said on the basis of a shared ideology. Why do you say no?
Do you think that
You
the
could
Leahy,
just-
wait, the
when
Leahy
you
people
say-
were Nazis? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
I'm saying
They
that
said
you
they
saying
were.
that?
What the statement said on the basis of a shared ideology. Why do you say no?
Do you think that
You
the
could
Leahy,
just-
wait, the
when
Leahy
you
people
say-
were Nazis? Is that
well,
what you're saying?
I'm saying
They
that
said
you
they
saying
they
that?
said.
No, are you saying that? Forget
Okay.
statements. You like to
Okay.
quote things.
The Leahy described as
The
on the
Leahy was
basis of
reviled by the
shared
mainstream of Zionism.
shared
no,
ideological
they didn't
principles.
share ideological.
Well, they said they did.
No,
They
they didn't.
said.
They reviled.
Why are you doing
The-
these things? Of
the
course
Leahy
they
was
said it.
reviled
You
by the
know the
majority.
state, but
The
you
Leahy
know
was
that
reviled.
you know what the statement said on the basis of a shared ideology. Why do you say no?
Do you think
You
that the
could
Lehi,
just-
wait, the
when you
Lehi people
say-
were Nazis? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
I'm saying
They
that's
said
what
they were.
they said.
No, are you saying that? Forget
Okay,
statements. You like to
okay.
quote things, but
I do
were
like
they
to
were
quote
they
things. It's
Nazis?
called
Were the Lehi Nazis? That's what I'm asking.
What did he
Some of them
just say?
supported Stalin,
Did he say that the
incidentally.
basis of the pact was their agreement on ideology?
There wasn't any pact. They suggested
Say
forget
Okay,
statements. You like to
okay.
quote things, but
I do
were
like
they
to
were
quote
they
things. It's
Nazis?
called
Were the Lehi Nazis? That's what I'm asking.
What did he
Some of
just
them
say?
supported Stalin,
Did he say that the
incidentally.
basis of the pact was their agreement on ideology?
There wasn't any pact. They suggested. They
said,
proposed an
wasn't it?
agreement.
Right. And what did the agreement say?
They wanted arms against the British. That's what they
did the
wanted.
agreement
Yeah, well,
say?
that's what Haj Amin al-Husseini wanted also. That's what
No, but
others
they didn't.
in India...
Agree-
You like to
Okay.
quote things, but
I do
were
like
they
to
were
quote
they
things. It's
Nazis?
called
Were the Lehi Nazis? That's what I'm asking.
What did he
Some
just
of them
say?
supported Stalin,
Did he say that the
incidentally.
basis of the pact was their agreement on ideology?
There wasn't any pact. They suggested.
I
They
said,
proposed
wasn't
an agreement.
It? Right. And what did the agreement say?
They wanted arms against the British. That's what they
did the
wanted.
Yeah,
agreement
well,
say?
that's what Haj Amin al-Husseini wanted also. That's what
No, but
others
they didn't.
in India... and
The Lehi
elsewhere.
people didn't work in Berlin helping the Nazi regime.
I mean, it's what the IRA wanted also.
No, but this is
you know,
what Haj Amin al-Husseini did. You know that he was an anti-Semite. You've probably read some of his works.
Yes.
He wasn't just anti-British.
and-
He was also anti. You've probably read some of his.
Agreement on ideology.
There was
Anti-Semite. This again. Why does he say anti-Semite?
Nazis.
called facts.
Were people
Say-
were Nazis. Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
I'm saying
They
that's
said
what
they
they
were.
said.
No, are you saying that? Forget
Okay,
statements. You like to
okay.
quote things, but
I do
were
like
they
to
were
quote
they
things. It's
Nazis?
called
Were the Lehi Nazis? That's what I'm asking.
What did he
Some of
just
them supported
say?
Stalin,
Did he say that the
incidentally.
basis of the pact was their agreement on ideology?
There wasn't any pact. They said
Did he say
were the Lehi Nazis? Forget statements. You like to
okay.
quote things, but
I do
were
like to
were
quote
they
things. It's
Nazis?
called
Were
facts.
the Lehi Nazis? That's what I'm asking.
What did he
Some of
just
them
say?
supported Stalin.
Facts. Basis of a shared ideology. Why do you say no?
Do you think that
You
the
could
Lehi,
just-
wait, the
when you
Lehi people
say-
were Nazis? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
I'm saying
They
that's
said
what
they
they
were.
No.
Do you think that
You
the
could
Lehi,
just-
wait, the
when you
Lehi people
say-
were Nazis? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
I'm saying
They
that's
said
what
they
they
were.
said.
No, are you saying that? Forget
Okay,
statements. You like to
okay.
quote things, but
I do
were
like to
were
quote
they
things. It's
Nazis?
called
Were
facts.
the Lehi Nazis? That's what I'm asking.
What did he
Some of
just
them
say?
supported Stalin,
Did he say that the
incidentally.
basis of the pact was their agreement on ideology?
There wasn't any pact. They suggested.
I
They
said,
proposed
wasn't
an agreement.
It? Right. And what did the agreement say?
They wanted arms against the British. That's what they
did the
wanted.
agreement
Yeah, well,
say?
that's what Haj Amin al-Husseini wanted also. That's what
No, but
others
they didn't.
in India...
The
and
Lehi people
elsewhere.
didn't work.
That's what Haj Amin al-Husseini wanted.
say?
They wanted arms against the British. That's what they
did the
wanted.
Yeah,
agreement
well,
say?
that's what Haj Amin al-Husseini wanted also. That's what
No, but
others
they didn't.
in India...
The
and
Lehi people
elsewhere.
didn't work in Berlin helping the Nazi regime.
I mean, it's what the IRA wanted also.
No, but this is
you know,
what Haj Amin al-Husseini did. You know that he was an anti-Semite. You've probably read some of his works.
Yes.
He wasn't just anti-British.
and-
he was also anti-Semitic.
and
So he had a common ground with Hitler.
I
It's as
think
simple as that.
we can agree.
Not every anti-Semite.
Benny's like he's simultaneously trying to defend and deflect onto so he's trying to deflect extra blame onto Husseini because he was a Palestinian guy who collaborated with Hitler. Is he saying anti-Semite instead of anti-Semite for... Is that a thing? Is he just pronouncing it weird? Or does he have a special word for if Arabs are anti-Semitic? Because I've only heard anti-Semite, but then He seems to be very deliberately saying anti-Semite. What? I might be ignorant. What is that? Okay, but he's also trying to deflect any talk about this guy, the Lehi people, the Lehi group, an unimportant organization in the Yishuv. Benny says this is all a red herring. You don't need to pay attention to this. And Urbani says, well, if this is a red herring, then the other motherfucker is a red whale. Oh, this is the people who were called the Stern Gang. I have heard some people talk about this before. The hand represents the Lehi statue, with only 2 raised fingers on the right hand to represent, if I forgot thee, O Jerusalem, may my right hand forget its skill. Now, when I say I'm the kind of person who reads Wikipedia, I don't always read Wikipedia. Sometimes I skim Wikipedia. There's the people who skim Wikipedia, then the people who read Wikipedia, then the people who edit Wikipedia. All right. Okay, those sleepy yawns again. You know, my sleep has been so fucked lately that I think I'm, rather than caffeinate myself and try to go on, I think I'm just going to end the stream. We're slightly below 2 hours. And I'm sleepy again. And that's okay. I think I need to sleep. So we're going to end it here. We didn't actually end up making any progress. Didn't even get past the 2-hour timestamp into these last 7 minutes, but I don't have the energy for it. There's a lot going on here. Hour 2 is deceptively long. Oh my God, we've got 7 whole minutes to go through. Oh Lord. All right. Let's call it a night. Let's wrap up. Say goodbye. Why don't we play it out with one of these here goofy ass fucking AI songs.
We'll talk and we'll learn. We'll talk and watch a debate. Wanna take a watch again. Kudos is gonna watch a debate, but not just watch a debate. He has to stop it and wait and go back and watch again to get it straight. Hour 8. He's only been 10 minutes and he'll aggravate you. So don't watch unless you want to. This is gonna take a long, long time, but we'll visit lots of rabbit holes along the way. We'll talk and we'll learn, we'll flock around and find out. We'll figure out who was right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong. Ooh, this is gonna watch a debate, but not just watch a debate. He has to stop it and wait and go back and watch again to get it straight. Hour 8, he's only been 10 minutes and he'll aggravate you. So don't watch unless you want to. This is gonna take a long, long time, but we'll visit lots of rabbit holes along the way. We'll talk and we'll learn, we'll flock around and find out. We'll figure out who was right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong. Right and wrong. Ooh.
watch it.
Visit lots of rabbit holes.
They'll figure out who was right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong.